My mom's boyfriend humiliated me at dinner, so I told him what I knew about his business trips. When I was 17, my mom started dating this guy named Mark. He was loud, arrogant, always chewing gum, sunglasses indoors kind of guy. He owned a small construction business, at least that's what he said, and he loved to talk about how hard he worked. I didn't like him, but my mom seemed happy for the first time in years, so I kept quiet. It was just us growing up. She busted her back working retail while raising me. So when Mark pulled up in his shiny truck, took her to real restaurants, bought flowers every Friday, I thought maybe she deserved that. But over time, the shine peeled off. He'd comment on what I wore. Is that another crop top? Your mom lets you out like that? Or brag about being the man of the house when he hadn't lived there 3 months? One night, he brought me to tears for the first time. I mentioned wanting to study architecture, maybe move to New York, and he laughed in front of my mom and said, "Sweetheart, people like us don't make it that far. Aim smaller." Mom said nothing. She just stared at her plate. Afterward, I started noticing things in their relationship that didn't make sense. He'd disappear for business trips nearly every week. No calls, no receipts, always paid in cash. When mom asked, he'd say, "You wouldn't understand how construction works, babe." But what he didn't know, I was working weekends at a little cafe off the highway, the same one he'd stop by sometimes. And one afternoon, he came in, not with work buddies, with a woman. Same time he told mom he'd be in Dallas. They sat close, sharing dessert, her fingers drawing circles on his arm. I froze. My coworker whispered, "Isn't that guy your stepdad?" "He's not," I said, watching him laugh. "Not yet." I didn't tell mom instantly. She already looked so tired lately. That kind of bone-deep sadness she tried to cover with makeup. But then came the dinner, the one that changed everything. He brought home wine, bragging about some business success, and decided to treat us to a family night. Halfway through, he started making digs at me again. My clothes, how I ate, even saying, "Maybe if you studied something practical, your mom wouldn't have to keep working." I snapped. "At least she's actually working. Where exactly is your job this week? Dallas? Or the Holiday Inn off Route 67? He blinked. "What?" Mom's fork clattered. "What did you just say?" I said it again, calm this time. "The Holiday Inn, room 214. The woman's name is Vanessa. She drives a red Nissan. Should I go on?" His face drained of color. I kept going. "You didn't tip, by the way. And you definitely made out in public." Mom looked like she couldn't breathe. She stood up, grabbed his phone, and within 10 seconds had found his texts. Everything spelled out. Dates, hotel directions. He stammered nonsense, saying, "It's not what you think." Mom told him to get the hell out and not take a single thing he hadn't bought himself. He left that night with a suitcase and a dented ego. The next morning, I found my mom crying in the kitchen. I thought she was angry at me for exposing him, but she just whispered, "Thank you. I didn't want to see it until someone forced me to." Weeks later, she found out Mark didn't even own a construction business. He was an independent contractor, which was code for unemployed scam artist working odd jobs under the table. We never saw him again, though every time I drive by that hotel, I still glance at the parking lot. Old habits, I guess. My mom eventually started dating someone genuinely kind, quiet, thoughtful, brings her coffee before work every morning. Nothing fancy, but real. Here's what I learned. The worst people always think they're untouchable until they forget who's been watching them quietly the whole time. And if you ever find yourself wondering when to speak up, trust me, the scariest truths are the ones that set you free.